Welcome back, everybody, to the Jacksonville Jaguars franchise here on Madden 21. We got a lot of stuff to go over today. Obviously, a big game against the 3-1 LA Rams. But before that, we've got a prospect profile to go over. Our very first prospect profile of the season. And we're going to be looking at some of the quarterbacks who are going to be entering this year's draft. And quarterback is a very interesting position. It's a hot topic right now because of the poor plays of Gardner Minshew. It has been a question for the past couple of seasons. Is Minshew this team's franchise quarterback? This was a huge prove-it year for Minshew, and so far he's been disappointing. Coming off a very poor game last week against the Arizona Cardinals, in which he threw 3 interceptions. And even in the other 3 games, he was efficient, but the completion percentage has been lower than expected. And, I mean, if you've watched the games, you can tell that he just does not look like a great quarterback. And does he even look like a starting caliber quarterback? And my answer is probably no. If he continues this downward trajectory, not only will he be replaced long term, but he may be replaced this season. The backups are Tyrod Taylor and James Easton, an undrafted rookie. Obviously, Taylor is the more trusted option, and if Minshew were to get benched this season, Taylor would likely step in and be the starter. So I definitely expect this Jaguars team to draft a quarterback this year, whether it's at the top of the draft or towards the middle. I definitely think that they most likely believe that they do not have the quarterback of their future on this team. So let's take a look at some guys who could potentially become Jaguars. The first quarterback we're going to be looking at is Alejandro Schneider out of UCF. Schneider originally committed to Boise State, played there as a freshman, but after getting homesick, transferred back towards home, which is Central Florida, and he's not looked back as he's been the starting quarterback the past 3 seasons for UCF. His numbers are not spectacular. He's never been a full-time starter until this season. However, I mean, his numbers have seen dramatic improvements over his career. He has not thrown an interception yet this season. He is a very limited athlete, and his accuracy is inconsistent. He's good in the medium game, but his short accuracy and deep accuracy are not great. He has a very low ceiling, but a high floor, and I think he could be a serviceable player in this league. Another high floor, low ceiling prospect in this draft who's probably going to go towards the middle is Chaz Kelly out of the University of Michigan. Kelly is 6'7". He's a tall glass of water, the John Elway-esque quarterback, so I'm excited to see John Elway and the Broncos likely draft him 2 rounds before he should go. But if you take a look at Kelly, this is his first year as a full-time starter, so we have more questions than answers. But he's a great field general. The accuracy is certainly there. He has okay arm strength, but, I mean, this is a guy who I think could be a high-level backup, a low-level starter. I think he could be a Chase Daniel for some teams. A very serviceable backup who can start some games here and there, but is never a long-term starter, and I think that's a fairly successful career if you ask me. The next guy we're going to look at is Jack Brockers out of TCU. Remember Jonathan Clarkson, a quarterback in last year's class out of Missouri? A tall, strong-arm quarterback with physical gifts who John Elway's Broncos happened to pick? Well, Jack Brockers is almost a clone. I think he's a little bit more athletic than Jonathan Clarkson, but both of them have cannons for arms. They both have great deep balls, but they both suck when it comes to short accuracy. I think Brockers is the better prospect than Jonathan Clarkson, even though Clarkson for a while was supposed to go in round 1, ended up going in the 3rd round. Brockers likely will not go until day 3, but I do think he could be a really interesting prospect if the right team can develop his physical gifts. Another guy with a lot of physical upside is Clemson's Michael Romer. This is the younger brother of recently drafted tight end Daniel Romer, a 4th-round pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, who could become the starting tight end next season if David Njoku is not re-signed. Romer is a dynamic football player. He's great with his legs. His best throws are on the run, in my opinion, and he is really good at avoiding pressure and avoiding sacks. However, he is also a first-year starter. We've not seen a lot of Michael Romer so far as a college football player, and there are more questions than answers. Romer right now is a very confusing prospect. Some scouts really love him. Other scouts really just don't know enough about him. So I think he's a guy you're going to have to watch out for as a player who could sneak up some boards. One of my favorite late-round prospects, regardless of position in this draft, is Lawrence Cross out of the University of Arizona. Cross is small, only 6'1", 204, but he's a dynamic player. A 2-year starter for the Wildcats. He actually was not the original starter last year, but the original starting quarterback got benched in favor for Cross, who was very good. The only major concern with Lawrence Cross is his arm strength. He does not have a particularly strong arm, but the accuracy is solid across the board, and he's really good with his legs. So I think if he can develop his arm strength, he'll be great. The next player we have here, we unfortunately don't have highlights for. That's Kendrick Savage II out of Illinois. Savage was a projected first-round pick at the beginning of the season. However, just minutes before Illinois' first game of the year, he tore his Achilles in pregame warm-ups and will not play this season. Savage has already announced that he intends on entering the draft. This kid has a really strong arm, a great deep ball, and has excellent wheels, but the short and medium accuracy are not great, and I don't know if he'll be the same dynamic player he once was due to the Achilles injury. Now let's take a look at Westlake's Stephen Westwood. We looked at Westwood last year because, well, we expected him to enter the draft, and he did not. After losing the national championship last year to Fresno State, Westwood surprisingly decided to stay for his redshirt senior season, where he has been awesome so far for the Hornets. Stephen Westwood is at his best in late-game situations. He was the national championship MVP as a sophomore against Tennessee, played well last year in the national championship against Fresno State before getting hurt late in the fourth quarter. But the problem is, he's had a lot of durability issues, specifically this season. Availability is the best ability, and as good as Stephen Westwood has played so far this year, there are times where he's barely been on the field due to injuries. So I think we need to see a full, consistent season out of Stephen Westwood, but right now, he's probably going round one. Another player who I find a lot of similarities to in Stephen Westwood, but just is a little bit more raw, is another guy we looked at last year, Koko Onwosu. Onwosu is now eligible for the draft as a redshirt sophomore. He's only 6 foot 216. He's very small, but he has good arm strength, pretty solid accuracy, and he's great with his legs. He also has durability issues and did not start playing football until he was around 14 or 15 years old, so he's still getting very used to the game. He's a raw prospect, but he has a lot of physical gifts and tremendous upside. He's only 20 years old, and I think whoever drafts him, likely in the second or third round, is really taking a chance on a project. You're going to have to develop him. He's not ready, but he has the chance to be a star. Let's take a look at the top projected quarterback in this draft class, and arguably the top projected player. Another guy we looked at last year, and that is Marcus Trotter. Like Koko Onwosu, this is Trotter's first year of draft eligibility, and head to toe, he is a phenomenal quarterback prospect. The accuracy is there, the arm strength is there, the leadership is there, the mobility is there. He checks off pretty much all of the boxes. He's a high floor yet high ceiling prospect, which you don't see often. So I think whoever the first QB needy team is in this draft has to take Marcus Trotter. I think it's pretty clear he is the top QB prospect in this draft. Super well-rounded head to toe. If you combine last year's draft class and this year's, Trotter would be the first quarterback off the board. But if we look at next year's class, there is a QB prospect better than Marcus Trotter. That is Aiden Kentz out of the University of Virginia. Kentz is now a true sophomore, and as a freshman, he won the Heisman Trophy. Not as a redshirt freshman, a true freshman, and his numbers were jaw-dropping, unbelievable. This is a once-in-a-generation prospect, and he happens to play quarterback. The arm strength is elite. The accuracy, I don't think I've ever seen accuracy from a pro prospect like Aiden Kentz. Completed nearly 75% of his passes last year as a true freshman. He's a productive athlete as well. And he's going number one in next year's draft. Regardless if the team picking needs a quarterback or not, he's going number one. And now let's take a look back at Westlake. Remember, Stephen Westwood is a senior, and once he's gone, there will be a quarterback battle next year between Keith Fleming and Marsucio Walteron. I think if Fleming loses that battle, I think he's athletically gifted, but raw as a passer, so I do not see him declaring for the draft. However, I think if Marsucio Walteron loses this battle next year, I think he could just throw his name into the NFL draft. He's a very refined passer. Now, there are some big weaknesses. He does not sense pressure well. He takes too much sacks. But as a high school prospect, scouts were drooling over him. And I think if he does not win the Westlake QB battle next year, I think it's more likely he declares for the draft than transfers elsewhere, just because I think he's that good of a prospect. So that'll do it for the prospect profile. Let me know what you thought of the quarterbacks in this year's draft. Now let's get to the game against the Los Angeles Rams, who are led by a certain Jalen Ramsey in the secondary. Jaguar fans know of his name very well. Ramsey was the 5th overall pick a few years ago by Jacksonville, where he developed into one of the top corners in the NFL. However, Ramsey wanted out, he got his wish, and was traded to the Rams in exchange for a lot of draft picks, including 2 first-rounders. Ramsey has been very good so far for Rams as well. He recently got signed a massive extension, and the goal here is to pass for 400 yards and 0 interceptions. I'm willing to bet that neither of those things happen, just on based how Gardner Minshew has played this season, but hey, I guess anything is possible. This Rams team is really solid. They made the postseason a year ago. They're 3-1 so far this year, playing good ball, led by quarterback Jared Goff, who is a very serviceable quarterback. He was the top draft pick in the same draft as Jalen Ramsey, coincidentally. And Goff has not developed into a superstar, but he is a quality starter who's very well-rounded across the board. Decent arm strength, solid accuracy, good enough mobility. Coming off a pretty good season last year where he threw for 29 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and a passer rating above 90. So far through 4 games, he's been solid, a 6-to-1 touchdown-interception ratio, over 1,000 yards so far. He's an average to an above-average quarterback, and he's a good player. But you want to see a great player, that's Aaron Donald, who is the most dominant player in the NFL. I don't think it's very close, and he's been the most dominant player for nearly half a decade. Donald is a phenomenal player. The Jaguars drafted Blake Bortles over him, by the way. I'm sorry, Jaguar fans, I had to bring it up. But don't worry, my team messed up too. We picked Eric Ebron over him. Donald has just been so consistent. If you look at his numbers, he's just been a machine. 15 sacks last year. He already has 7 sacks this year through 4 games. And he's, without a doubt, the consensus best defensive player in football. I think he's the best player in football head to toe, personally. But, I mean, he's just unstoppable. I mean, you can have a team of below-average defensive linemen around him, and that's still a good defensive line just because of Aaron Donald. There's also, obviously, Jalen Ramsey, who we talked about earlier. This game is in Jacksonville, which means Ramsey will return home for the first time in nearly 2 years. I do not expect a single cheer from this stadium, and for the sake of these fans, I hope they do not cheer. Ramsey and the Jaguars left on sour terms, and I expect a rain of boos when they first see him. Ramsey obviously developed into a great player with the Jaguars, and he wanted out. The team was not winning enough for his standards. He did not believe they were a good enough organization for him, and he wanted to get paid elsewhere, and that's what he got with the Rams. By the way, they've also stolen multiple players off our practice squad this season, including former Westlake kicker Volker Gantz, which kind of stings a little bit. But I actually think this is good for Volker and his future with the Jaguars. And I know that sounds kind of wild. We did draft Volker in the 7th round this year. We put him on the practice squad because he's not better than Josh Lambo. But if Lambo has another poor season like he did last year, you got to remember, Volker's contract is up after this year. He will be a free agent. He only signed a 1-year deal with the Rams off of our practice squad, so we could always sign Volker back, and now he has a year of experience in his belt as a starting kicker. I think Volker actually has a future with the Jags, and I know I'm stretching a little bit, but if Josh Lambo struggles, I think he could return here very soon. Overall, this is a good roster. As I said earlier, they were a playoff team last year, projecting to be a playoff team this year. I mean, this is a good young squad. They have not had first-rounders in the past 2 drafts, obviously, thanks to Jalen Ramsey. But this is an above-average team, and it's going to be a tough one for Jacksonville, who knows this is a must-win game. Jacksonville is a bye week next week and would love to get some momentum entering the bye. The Jags are currently 2-2, started the season off 2-0, and have lost their previous 2. A heartbreaker in Week 3 to the Bengals, and then last week getting absolutely dismantled 38-10 by the Cardinals. The defense was bad, the offense was bad, everybody was bad last week for the Jaguars. They know they have to improve today. They are playing angry, they're playing hungry. Let's see if the Jaguars can get back over 500. Rams going to open up the game with a nice pass from Goff over to his tight end Tyler Higbee for a first down, gain of 24. It's a rainy one here in Jacksonville. The conditions are sloppy. Let's see if we have sloppy football. It's on 3rd and 9. Goff is sacked by Ifeadi Odenigbo, who's had a great start to the season, obviously acquired last year for trade line by Jacksonville, and he has been phenomenal ever since that move. Jags offense now with it after the stop as Minshew on 3rd and 7. Nice throw on the run for Laviska Shenault. Obviously, Minshew knows this might be the most important game of his career. If he continues the struggles, I think it's fairly obvious he will be negated to the backup. So, obviously, the pressure is there, as on 3rd and 4, the pass is incomplete, trying to get it to DJ Chark, who is hurt on the play. This offense's most important player is DJ Chark. I know it's very rare for a wide receiver to be the most important player, but I think you can say that about Chark. That could be a serious injury if he does not return today as Lambeau makes the field goal. 3-0 in favor of the Jags as Cam Akers loses a couple. It's Crevan LeBlanc who brings him down. LeBlanc has been one of the few bright spots on this defense. He has had a really solid start to his Jaguars career after being signed in the offseason from the Eagles. As on 2nd down, Goff gets it once again to his tight end Tyler Higbee for a nice gain. Now at the 44, handoff for the 3rd-year running back Darrell Henderson out of Memphis. And he brings it to the 31 for a gain of 13. That'll do it for quarter number 1, an uneventful quarter. Jaguars lead it 3-0. 3rd and 4 now, Goff under some pressure. Nice throw over to Albert Wilson. Quickly tackled by C.J. Henderson, but not before getting to the 14-yard line. And the Rams offense is in business. 1st and goal, Goff back to Wilson for the touchdown. And the veteran will put the Rams on the board as they now take the lead 7-3, rocking their very ugly bone white jerseys. I think they're only called bone jerseys. I don't know why that's the name, but oh well. 2nd and 7, Minshew over to his tight end, David Njoku, who brings it to the 45-yard line for a very solid gain. Next play, Minshew gets it to Nelson Agholor. Down the field goes Agholor as he breaks Taylor Rapp's ankles. What a juke by Nelson Agholor. 55-yard touchdown for the Jaguars, and they will regain the lead. Let's get ready for the Taylor Rapp retirement press conference, folks, because his career has just been humiliated on that one play. What a move by Nelson Agholor, and what an addition he has been to this offense. I think you can make the case that Agholor is the 2nd best player on this offense so far this year after DJ Chark. Unfortunately, the Jaguars would miss the extra point, but they would get the ball back soon after a defensive stop as Minshew gets it back to David Njoku. Gardner Minshew was 8 for 9, 148 yards and a touchdown. He has played really well today, but you know who's not done well for rushing attack for a 2nd straight week? As Lindsey loses 2, it's Jalen Ramsey, the former Jaguar, who brings him down. A outpour of boos from the crowd after that play. 3rd and 6 now. There's the Minshew we all know and love. Totally missing the throw for Nelson Agholor. That will force a Logan Cook punt. And the Rams would get it late here in the first half of about 2.5 minutes to go as it's a handoff for Akers, and he's smothered in the backfield by the rookie Rashawn Babineau, who continues to have a really solid rookie season. Obviously, he's been pretty quiet since that Week 1 game against the Bills, but he's gotten 7 or 8 tackles per week. He's just been very consistent. 3rd and 14 now. Henderson with the play. He will be brought down by Gerard Wilson. A nice stop for the Jags as that'll bring us to the 2-minute warning. Score remains 9-7. 3rd and 2. Minshew with it. He's going to try to get it to Chark. That was a good throw, but Chark kept running for some odd reason. I have no clue why. I don't know if he saw cookies on the bench and really wanted a bite. That very well could be the case as the Rams have it back. 3rd and 9. Nice conversion to Higbee before he got smothered by C.J. Henderson. And now the field goal unit is out. The Jaguars will call a timeout to ice for rookie kicker Westlake's finest, Volker Gantz from 56. We know he has a very strong leg as this kick will doink off the crossbar. No good. And the Jaguars will retain the lead going into halftime as Volker Gantz misses the field goal. He did have some accuracy issues in college. However, the accuracy was good there. He actually did not have the power on that one. That'll end the first half. It has been a very sloppy game. Jaguars lead it 9-7. I will say both quarterbacks, Gardner Minshew and Jared Goff, have played quite well today. Neither teams have really been able to run the ball. And when you can't run the ball, the defense only games plans against the pass. And the two quarterbacks can only do so much. Jags offense opening with the football here in the second half is DJ Chark returning from his injury with a nice play. That's his first catch of the game, by the way. He did not catch a pass in the first half. Now at the 37. Minshew under pressure. That's a strip sack. Aaron Donald gets to the quarterback. It is recovered by Andrew Norwell, the guard, as Aaron Donald's been pretty quiet so far in this first half, and he's going to get another nice pressure here, hitting Minshew, who was forced to throw it, and it was nearly intercepted by one of the defensive backs. A.J. Khan injured on the play. That's not good news for the Jags, as the Rams have it. Here's Goff on 2nd and 6. Back to his favorite target of the day. It's Tyler Higbee, who brings it to the 28 before being tackled by Henderson and Gerard Wilson. Now from the 42, 5.5 minutes to go in the quarter, as here's Robert Woods with the play. He got by Henderson, and he's off to the races. 58-yard score for Woods, as the Los Angeles Rams will extend their, well, actually, they'll gain the lead back. Nice play by the former USC Trojan, and it is now 14-9. Jags offense needs a spark as Lindsey loses 6. 10 carries, 13 yards, and it's not fully his fault. The run blocking has just not been good these past couple of weeks, and the Rams would get it back. 14-9, still your score, with a little bit over 2.5 to go in the third, as it's a fake end around. Handoff for Cam Akers. Akers gets a block! Down the field, 89 yards. This will be a very long touchdown for Cam Akers as the rookie corner, Zaire Wiggins, makes a nice effort to track him down, but he is unsuccessful. The longest run of Cam Akers' career, as the Rams are now up by 2 scores. They will make it 21-9. Jags now have to do some catch-up. 3rd and 5. Minshew overthrows Njoku. He was under a ton of pressure there. I've got to say, Gardner Minshew has played fairly well today. He hasn't been great, no, but, I mean, he's been good. Rams with it now. Goff on 1st down. A nice pass is going to be caught to the 40. That was, once again, Albert Wilson, who's had a pretty solid day in this one for Los Angeles. Goff, 21 for 27, continues to be efficient. With around 20 seconds to go in the third, a pair of Rams in motion here on 3rd and 1, as Goff is smothered immediately. Rashawn Babineau with the pressure. That pass is going to be incomplete, and the Jaguars will get it back. Their offense has to get points, and they have to get points soon if they want to make a comeback. Toss for Phillip Lindsay. He actually gets blocks. Lindsay down the field. Going to try to juke out the defender, and he is successful before being tackled at the 32-yard line by Jalen Ramsey. A huge run for Phillip Lindsay, and that will bring us to the 4th quarter. Rams outscore the Jags 14-0 in the third, as Gardner Minshew is going to be sacked on the play. Sack number 2 in this one for Aaron Donald, his 9th of the season. He is in the zone. That is very bad news for the offense. 3rd and 18. Donald with the hit, and it is going to be incomplete. The Jaguars would decide to punt it, a very good punt, as the Rams will be backed up inside the 20. 2nd and 8. Here's Goff under pressure, and he is going to be sacked by K'Lavon Chaisson, who I imagine has already passed his total in sacks this year compared to last year. What a season so far for K'Lavon Chaisson. The Jags have the football now. Nice throw from Minshew over to Phillip Lindsay, who runs out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Good first down for the Jaguars. Now Minshew finds a wide-open Nelson Aguilar, who's been the best receiver on this team today. He brings it to the 16-yard line. Aguilar, 5 catches, 95 yards here in this one. 3rd and goal now at the 3. Under 3.5 to go. Minshew connects with David Njoku for the touchdown, and it's once again a one-score game as Njoku is going to flip right on top of Daniel Romer, and it is now 21-16. Jags need a stop here. They've played well defensively here in the 4th quarter, but all the Rams need is a couple first downs, and this one is over. Handoff for Cam Akers, and he got it. Past the 50, Jacksonville forced to call their first timeout. They are down to 2. Let's go a few plays later now. 3rd and 3, the Jags are out of timeouts. A first down most likely ends it. Akers for running back in the backfield as he gets the handoff. And that's a first down for Cam Akers, and the Jaguar defenders are going to let him score. I don't know why C.J. Henderson tackled him there, because letting Akers score is the right move for the Jags. Because instead of letting the Rams kneel out the clock, now the Jags have a fighting chance to score, get an onside kick, and score again. So technically, the Jags are not mathematically out of it because they let Akers score. 28-16 now in favor of the Rams. They are sitting pretty as Samson Ebukam with the sack. 3rd and 20 now, under a minute to go as Minshew gets it to DJ Chark. Down the field, he is going to run out of bounds at the 9-yard line made the mistake by going out of bounds early, but he does stop the clock at 36 seconds. Now let's go to 3rd and goal with 26 seconds to go as Minshew, quick strike in the end zone. David Njoku with his 2nd touchdown of the game, and now this one will come down to an onside kick. All the Rams have to do is pick up this football, and this game is over. Lambeau on to kick it as the Rams bobble it, and it's picked up by Jacksonville. Emmanuel Mosley recovers, and now the Jags have 24 seconds to get a few quick plays and win it. The first 3 would be unsuccessful as we're now down to 6 seconds. 4th and 5, Minshew forced to lob up a Hail Mary. We know he does not have great arm strength as the pass is incomplete and the Cinderella ending does not happen. A valiant effort in this one by the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, they lose 28-23, and the Jags will go into their bye week losers of 3 in a row. The last thing you want to do going into your bye is be on a long losing streak, but now the Jags have 2 weeks to regroup and prepare for their next game. Gardner Minshew with his best game of the season. He did get a lot of yards and incompletions late because he was forced to play hero ball, but I will say he played well. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He missed a couple throws, but he played very well in my opinion. Jared Goff was great in this one for the Rams. Running the ball, I know Cam Akers had 183 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. If you started him in fantasy, good for you. But the Rams did not run the ball that well. Akers had that 89-yard run in the 3rd quarter, and then that long touchdown in the 4th quarter because the Jags let him score in order to better their chances of winning. Same goes for Phillip Lindsay. The Jags could not run the ball at all today, but because of one long run, Lindsay's numbers are pretty inflated. Receiving-wise, Tyler Higbee over 100 yards. He was Goff's trusty weapon today. Nelson Aguilar with a great game in this one for the Jags. 5 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. 2 scores for David Njoku. He probably had his best game of the season. The pass blocking was good for the Rams and good enough for the Jags. They only let Aaron Donald sack the quarterback twice. Zaire Wiggins with 9 tackles. I think Zaire Wiggins played really well today. He allowed a few catches, but he did not allow big plays, and in my opinion, he was good. Aaron Donald with 2 sacks, Calvin Chason, Samson Mabukum, and Ifeadi Odenigbo with 1. And I want to talk about the special teams because the special teams made a big impact on this game. Josh Lambeau missed an extra point. He did have a really nice onside kick. Volker Gantz missed his lone field goal attempt. And shout out to punter Logan Cook. He punted it 6 times. 3 of them went inside the 10. I know the statistic is inside the 20, but all 3 of them went inside the 10. So a phenomenal game from Logan Cook. However, unfortunately, it was not enough for the Jags to get the win. So entering week 6 and the bye week, there is a new injury as Andrew Norwell has broken his ribs and he's going to be gone for 3 weeks. So that means the veteran Dan Feeney will likely have to step up at left guard. We do have some good news. Myles Jack will return healthy for week 7. That's a big addition returning to the defense. Jack got injured back in the week 2 win over the Titans. It's letting us clear Myles Jack now, which doesn't make sense. He's going to be healthy for our next game. So I don't know why we do it now, but okay, Madden, you can do your thing. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.